Morning, everyone. Welcome to our mindful moment on the 24th of July. I'm in a different setting because I've had the privilege of staying at Gowrie Golf Course with my friend Candice. It's the most beautiful view. You probably can't see it outside, and the sun's just coming up. It's been such a treat just being here for the last day. We were just doing some work and some strategy, and Candice's dad is one of the developers here, and so it's lovely to be able to stay here. So that's been such a treat. Yeah, and it's lovely to see so many of you here this morning. Let me just settle myself a little bit and actually put it on an oil. So frankincense is always very grounding and calming. I'll share a story later. Well, no, I'll actually tell it you now. She saw a mum this week, and she just dropped off her daughter for boarding for the first time last week. And then the daughter this morning, on Monday morning, was not keen to go back and very emotional. And I just suggested, and the mum was holding it all and carrying it all. And I suggested to her to go home and put her frankincense on her pallet. They live on a farm far away. And she sent me a message the next day to say thank you for that tip. It was so helpful. So if you're ever wanting to calm and ground, frankincense on the palate is always very helpful. And then, so when you do it for a few deep breaths. And then rose is the oil of divine love. And so we've been using lots of this rose and even diffusing it over the last 24 hours, which has been lovely as well. So if you want to put anything in the chat and check in just how you are, it's been an intense week for a lot of people. And the energy, astrologically, it tells us that the energy has been very high. And later in the year, it's even going to get higher and more intense. So it's been a beautiful winter full moon. The skies have been clear, I think, in most of South Africa. So it's amazing to just see it. But people are going through a lot, even in the last 24 hours. There's been, in my small world, a lot of friends have gone through quite a lot. There's a lot of turmoil, and astrologically it is forecast. And I just want to remind us how interconnected we all are. And I'm sure we've all had the experience of thinking of someone and then they phone us, or we bump into them or something. It's almost like they've entered our energetic field before we physically connected, before they phoned us. And the Heart Math Institute, with their research relating to heart coherence, shows us scientifically how connected we are. And it's incredible research that they do. And I would not do it justice explaining it all. But Mum went to, when we were actually back in South Africa, but she went over to the UK to this Breath of Life conference in the UK in 2010. And speaking at that conference were Dr. Ronan McCratty, who's Heart Math, and Bessel van der Kolk, and Gabor Mate, who all speak about the body keeping the score. And I mean, they were so ahead of the time. That was 14 years ago, and all of them are now coming into such prominence now. But my mum brought back this inner balance timer for her and for me, and it's a tool that you can use to clip onto your ear, and then you do sort of a breathing practice and bringing in gratitude, all the things that we practice in our mindful moments, and you get your heart into this coherence, which is when our body works best, when we are also most intuitive, when our lives are most in flow, decreases blood pressure. I mean, the research on the effects of the physical body are amazing, and then also on the emotional and spiritual body and our connections. And so in this last week, I've used this a couple of times. I love using it because it's something that kind of keeps me focused, keeps me anchored. And when I brought in, so I do the breathing, and you bring gratitude to your heart space. You just slow down your breathing. But when I've brought in our mantra that we talked about last week, I'm breathing in love, I'm breathing out love, it was amazing to see how quickly it got into coherence, and so better coherence, a higher level of coherence than I'd had before. And so yeah, so the coherence is something that's so powerful that we can all drop into, even when you don't have something like this little inner balance. Know that if you can pause, I often feel it's more helpful. Well, helps me to anchor if I put my hands on my heart, and we breathe in love and breathe out love. It can bring us into a very coherent state, which can be very helpful for us. And we can do this for others too when we feel very powerless. It helps us to connect more with others, and remembering that energy field and how we can affect others, and that they can perhaps even sense our energy, even when we're going into a difficult discussion or going into a different meeting, or thinking of someone who's going through a tough time. So yeah, I just really encourage you to know the power of this, and we're going to continue to practice it today. Um, so listening to both Pam Gregory and Michelle McClellan recently, and I can just recommend both of their latest videos. Michelle McClellan's one for this time is really supportive, and in her video she said that we really must stay away from focusing on our weaknesses or our perceived mistakes in life that we've made, or everything that's happened to us in our lives. We have to understand that they have happened for a reason, and that it's because it's supposed to happen. And astrology is amazing proof on that on a daily basis, so that there are no mistakes and everything's going to be okay. And this is what's sort of been forecast astrologically. Often they don't know the exact things, but they know the energy of the time. And that when we resist and we blame, we often make things so much worse. And so she just also really encouraged us to settle ourselves and to breathe if we're going into any difficult conversations, or going into a difficult situation, and not to allow it to turn into conflict. And so, yeah, and Pam Gregory reminded us that this time that we're stepping into now, from the 26th of July to the 12th of August, is a very well-known time, not just by astrologers, but by a lot of spiritual people. It's called Lion's Gate, and it happens every single year when the Earth and the Sun and Sirius and Orion all align together. And it peaks on the 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th. And it's a time of supposed spiritual healing, great spiritual healing, and increased manifestation abilities. And many people teach about this time. It's a wonderful sort of portal time. So many of you might know about it already, but it's an even more encouragement for us to keep practicing our mantras. I'm breathing in love, I'm breathing out love, and also what we're welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. We're welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. So that's a little bit of a reflection for this week. And I nearly actually repeated Julia Fehrenbacher's instructions for today. I just loved that poem from last week. But I thought I would introduce another one of her poems. And I will put this on a little visual and send it later. But it's named It Could Be. So I just encourage you to let this land and just take it in. I'll read it through twice now. It could be a smile, or a poem, or a new daylight that finds you through an open window, or perhaps remembering that tomorrow was never promised. It could be the scent of baking bread, the first chill of autumn that has you reaching for your favorite wool sweater. Or maybe it's the noticing of how easily the red maple becomes, and lets go. It could be taking today off to be still, to unknow, to notice, to practice loosening your troubled grip, because grace can never be gripped or grabbed. It could be choosing softness in a world grown hard, because you're tired of hurting and being hurt, and mercy is the best kind of medicine. It could be an invitation to gather around the listening table, where every color is beautiful, where there is no blame, no shame, no them, no other. It could be any of these things, or no thing at all, that remind you that, really, only a few things matter: food, trees, words, love, mostly love. It could be a smile or a poem, or new daylight that finds you through an open window. Perhaps remembering that tomorrow was never promised. It could be the scent of baking bread, the first chill of autumn that has you reaching for your favorite wool sweater. Or maybe it's the noticing of how easily red maple becomes and lets go. It could be taking today off to be still, to unknow, to notice, to practice loosening your troubled grip, because grace can never be gripped or grabbed. It could be choosing softness in a world grown hard, because you're tired of hurting and being hurt, and mercy is the best kind of medicine. It could be an invitation to gather around the listening table, where every color is beautiful, where there is no blame, no shame, no them, no other. It could be any of these things or no thing at all, that remind you that, really, only a few things matter: food, trees, words, love, mostly love. So I invite you just to follow these words and allow them to settle in our bodies as we practice loosening our troubled grips and just settling in this moment, noticing feet on floor. And even if you are walking or driving, noticing where your feet are landing. Noticing seat on cushion or chair. Feeling into the support, the grounding. And then expanding, unfurling the spine, opening up into shoulders, allowing neck and head to reach up towards the sky. Noticing hands and allowing a settling in hands, and even if driving, just a softening of your grip. If seated, perhaps inviting, opening your hands, resting them on your lap, being open to receive, softened. And then just taking a few breaths, perhaps allowing an audible sigh as you breathe out, allowing these breaths to settle you in your body. Inviting a sense of coming home, to your breath, and to your body. And scanning through your body for anchor points. Could be feet on the floor, the feeling of sitting in your seat. Could be hands in your lap. Could be breath entering your nostrils, or the flow of breath in your chest or belly. And just sitting with this, seeing which anchor point calls to you. And for the next few minutes, just settling into that anchor. If your thoughts start to wander, or mind starts to drift, just gently noticing that it's gone off, and gently bring it back to this anchor. When thoughts start to tug, just gently being pulled back by your anchor, guided back to settling. And then gently drifting to your heart space, making that your anchor. Either keeping hands rested on the lap or resting your hands over your heart space, whatever feels comforting for you today. Noticing each breath as it flows in and out of your heart space. I'm breathing in love. I'm breathing out love. And in your own time and own rhythm, repeating this mantra as you're breathing in and out. noticing the feeling of love in your body. Perhaps it's got a shape or a color or a light. Noticing this building in your body. Continuing with this mantra, with this breath. And if there are loved ones going through a hard time, or if it's you or your immediate family, just putting them, you, in the center of your heart space, surrounding them with this feeling of love. Allowing them to flow in and flow out. And perhaps someone else to flow in and out. Feeling into the connection of us all in this group. And the web that is here connecting us all and connecting us with our loved ones. Feeling into the power of spreading and extending love from all of us. And then gently letting go of images, connections, as we might let go of a balloon and watch it drift up. Settling back just into our heart space for a few more breaths. It could be any of these things or no thing at all that remind you that really only a few things matter. Food, trees, words, love. Mostly love. When you're ready, perhaps taking in a deep breath in, sighing out, gently moving fingers, toes, feet, shoulders. When you're ready, opening your eyes, taking in the colors and the light, taking in names and faces in this community. I don't know how to unpin myself so that you can all see each other. Too tricky, but notice names and faces and who's here with us. And sending you love and wishing you a blessed day and a blessed week. I'm just going to look at thank you, Sue. Mum, I don't think it was 2019 because the inner balance, I've got things that are 2018 on it, or 2017. So I think it must have been before that, but maybe it wasn't. Thank you, Hilda. Thank you. Thanks, Mum. Sorry, I'm checking comments. No, I can't close the chat. Anyway, lovely to see you all. Wishing you a blessed week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Yeah, and please feel free to share this. Also, when I share the YouTube link, even if you have watched it live, maybe you want to just like it or comment, because it does expand it, and well, it promotes it on YouTube, which would share it with more people. And I think after we've sat for a time like this, we feel like everyone could do with a little bit of this in their lives, just a little bit more peace and love and connection. So love to you all.